Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. My name's Elle Daddo. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation, of which we are recording this podcast, and the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to elders both past and present. Well, it's a special one today, I have to say. There's no Daddo in the house. There's no Daddo in the bathroom. So I'm not here alone. Cam is gallivanting all over for luxury escapes, and you can probably see on Instagram all the awful places he's been having to go to. I have someone who is incredibly special to actually both of us. I've known her whole life. Please welcome to the bathroom, Lotus Daddo.
Hi.
The crowd goes wild. People are going, wait, what? As in the Lotus Daddo? As in firstborn Lotus Daddo?
I love how you said, she's actually important to both of us.
Well, I was going to say she's super important to me, and I was like, oh, Cam will hate that. I'd better say the both of us. Because he gets so mad if I say my daughter. He goes, it's our daughter
too. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Don't say my, it's our. I know, I've got to remember to do that. So actually important to both of us. Thanks for coming in, honey, on your day off.
Thanks for having me.
You've been working super hard, I know.
Yes, I'm very tired. I know. But I'm glad to be here. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also glad to be here.
I know. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. You put a microphone in front of your face, and it does start to feel a little bit strange for a bit.
I'm used to as well, like I don't know, in my head I had like the old school setup where you guys were like out in the garage.
Oh yeah.
And this is now like fully professional.
I
Like,
know.
I'm like, oh my gosh,
we
what's
moved up
happening?
in the world. We have producers and
I
everything.
know.
Like really good ones.
I know. You got your face everywhere. I'm like, holy shit.
Not just like dad in the garage going, Jesus.
Yeah.
Say it again.
There's a lawnmower outside.
The dog's barking. Lotus, get the dog inside. Yeah.
Everybody be quiet for an hour. Yeah.
That's right.
Good.
Wherever we had.
Do not talk for an hour.
Do not talk. And then it was also when we lived in the old house at Beacon Hill, it was nobody has a shower or flush the toilet because it would just the pipes would go through. The good old days. The good old days.
God. So bad.
We've asked you in here because you've got, it's not like super big news in the sense for you, because I know how you feel about this particular topic, but it might be big news to other people. And it's the fact that you have just signed with a modelling agency with Bella Models. Now, this is the first of our three kids ever to even set foot in the entertainment world. Can you sort of tell us and walk us through how that actually came about?
Nepotism. Look, I mean, maybe a little bit of that, right? Like you might have to acknowledge it a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. I don't know if like being a model was ever sort of on the radar. And first of all, can I just say, like, yes, I may have just signed with an agency, but like I haven't booked anything yet, everybody. So like, don't go calling me like a model just yet, because nothing's happened yet. But yeah, I kind of wasn't expecting to get the contract. I sort of just walked into their offices, and I met Chelsea, who like owns the sort of the whole agency, and she's amazing. She's super lovely. And I don't know, I guess when you told me, I want you to just go have a meeting with Chelsea, I was kind of expecting more of like oh yeah, we can hire you to like work within the agency. So you'll like help out other models and help set stuff up. And then I walked in there and she was like, great, so I'm going to take your measurements and all this sort of stuff. And we're going to do your headshots and we'll take your digitals now. And I was like, what? What do you mean? And then I walked out of there with a contract, and I think I called you and I was like, I'm so confused. I don't know what just happened. So yeah, that's kind of how it happened. So yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind. I was very surprised that
it was a whirlwind.
Yeah, it sort of just like, it all just sort of tumbled over. It was a bit like domino. It was weird. I mean, it was great, but I wasn't expecting it at all.
And I actually love that. I mean, for a start, Bella is amazing management because they're so into diversity. They have they're very specific about their age range. I don't think they have any girls younger than 18 on their books. Is that right? It's something like that. She's very specific.
Yeah, I think it is 18 and up.
Yeah. Her diversity is amazing. Size, shape, color, I love. Because here you are at 27.
I know. I'm old.
Well, back in the day,
that's old.
That was old, which is wild because you are young. But to think that at 27 you could start seeing if there was any work out there for you is quite fabulous.
Yeah, it is cool.
For me, I love that because starting at the age of 16, the impact of being so young was not good for me. I think 16 is too young to be a model. And I think modeling these days is probably even harder because you're also dealing with the social media.
Totally. You're competing with so many different factors, I think. So it's
so many different versions of other girls that it's too much.
Totally.
Was there any resistance to getting into that line of work because of my career as a model?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I don't know if there's resistance. I think because of you. I mean, look, I think I'll probably always be like compared to you in that sense. It's just going to happen naturally.
Yeah.
And I kind of think
I get compared to me.
That's
as
so
the younger
weird.
version of me.
That is so bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like why? Why?
Yeah.
It's strange. I mean, I think I would probably be compared, like me and Bodhi probably would be compared to you regardless, just in the sense of like, you look so much like your mom or like, oh, wow, all that sort of stuff. It's funny because people say that I look like you. I don't think I look like you at all, really. I think the hair sort of deceives everybody, but I think I look like Dad.
Yeah.
I saw a photo of him the other day young, and I was like, that is my face. Yes. That is so weird.
Yeah. His face, my hair.
Yeah. So bizarre.
And his legs, lucky you. That's what I say. You got his
great
legs.
Mom.
Oh,
Come
Dad's
on now.
got really good legs for a woman.
Oh, no. Sorry, Dad. So I think maybe more the resistance was just like, I don't know. I probably just, this is going to sound a bit sappy, I guess. I don't think I ever felt like pretty enough. I don't think I photograph very well, to be completely honest. Like I see photographs of myself. There's a little bit of bias in here, everybody. Like I'm just going to call it out right now. My mother thinks I'm amazing, which is so great, but I could blow my nose into a tissue and be like, I made an art project. And she'd be like, this is the most genius thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It's seriously. So you're a little biased. Like, let's just acknowledge that.
It's just the ever so smallest amount. But I'm also really highly intelligent. And I know a beautiful woman.
That's very true. That is, you are super smart, but you're also biased when it comes to your children.
All right, fair enough.
I think it was just probably because I just didn't feel, I could do it, really. So that's why I was so shocked when I walked in there and they were like, yeah, use your thing. And I was like, So again, it's also interesting as well, like, we have to acknowledge nepotism. I'm like, is it just because I'm your and Dad's daughter that I'm getting this contract? Or is it because you actually think that I could, do this work? I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yes, I think that, is that I feel like that's challenging to think that you don't know your own worth or your own beauty. Like, is it because you're our daughter or is it because you're just absolutely stunning? Like, Chelsea's not going to take you on if you were a dog's breakfast. Well, she just wouldn't. She just wouldn't. Not that's a terrible thing to say, but, there's anyone who sees you immediately is like, she's so beautiful. But it's honestly for, and I've said this to you for years, it's who you are that makes you so beautiful. And it's always been who you are. It's always been the kindness and the soul of who you are that comes out, that always shines through your beauty.
Oh, thanks, Mama. Thanks.
Whenever we've had someone grow up with their parents in the industry or something like that, and they've talked a little bit how hard it is in the comparison at times if they want to go into the same industry. And that's something that I've thought about a lot, particularly with you and Bodhi, that you would get compared to me and somehow feel lesser than. And that was why, growing up, for years you didn't know I was a model, right?
No. I think it was really only until, I don't know, I feel like maybe like 10 or 11 when I found your modeling portfolio book and I saw all these pictures of you and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Where did this come from?
I remember you bringing it to me.
Yeah, and I showed it to you and then I remember but I never looked at those pictures and thought, when I was younger, I never looked at those pictures and thought, oh God, like, I'll never be as pretty as my mom. Like, you know what I mean? I also probably wasn't even in that headspace where I was thinking about looks. I think that sort of probably really only kicked in for me when I was maybe like 12, 13. When you start going through puberty and everyone starts becoming hyper aware of like, oh my God, what do I look like? And all that sort of stuff. It's the great time for everybody.
Best. And that's when the pimples come as well. Which is what
dude.
you want.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm still getting pimples. It's super great. Yeah, but I just remember like seeing those photos of you and thinking, oh my God, my mom is like so beautiful. And I still think that. That.
Thanks, honey.
It's true. I mean, and people come up to me all the time and they're like, your mom is so stunning. She's so beautiful still now. I'm like, I know.
They're just biased.
They're not biased.
I'm just taking
they
words
just
out of
love
your
you.
mouth. Obviously, you grew up in America, for those of you who don't know.
That's why I sound weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. And you moved here when you were 20. So all your formative years were absolutely growing up in the American system. And that was where, and Dad and I, especially me, we were unknowns. You knew that Dad went out and did work in the industry, but I was a teacher and I was, a doula. I had nothing to do with the entertainment industry. And I have to tell one of my all-time favorite stories of you.
Oh, no.
We were playing a game. I don't know what it was, but we were on Teams or something. And the question was, who's the most famous person that you know? And, people were saying this. And you said, my mum. And I was like, oh, my gosh. And they were like, why, Lotus? And I said, because she ran the Halloween enchantment at my school for 4 years and everyone knows her there. And I was like, that is the best moment of my parenting life.
That's so funny.
Ever. Do you remember saying that?
I have no memory of this at all. I'm really sorry. I wish I did remember that.
It's okay. It's embedded into my heart forever.
My God.
Because I thought
this is the first time you've told me this. I had no idea this happened.
Yeah.
Even though I said it.
Yeah, we were at a party for some reason. I don't know why, playing some game. And you were so earnest about it as well. Right. And it was. And everyone in the room just went, oh.
That's so funny.
It was the sweetest thing. And I thought, if there's one thing I will forever be proud of, is being a hero to you for that very reason.
Well, because they were great. Just for reference, the school that I used to go to, this is the Halloween enchantment reference, they used to throw like this kind of Halloween festival. And it was amazing. They would put on like plays in each classroom and you would go through each classroom and it was set up like it was insane. It was amazing. And Mom ran it for 4 years and it was epic. It was the best time. So no wonder I thought that like you were so famous, because everyone was like, this is so good, Allie, because they were great. They were so good.
They were great, yeah.
Yeah, they were so much fun.
And of course your dad always acted in one of the rooms.
And never learnt his lines, by the way, would tape his lines to his hands and read them in front of everybody and try and trick people into, thinking that he knew his lines.
No one was tricked.
No one was tricked. Everyone just thought it was hilarious. I just remember all my friends making fun of him for it.
Right?
Yeah.
He did the first one well as the fisherman. That's that he did that when he learned his lines for that. And then after that, he just was like, I can phone this one in. And
it's
he
fine.
didn't.
He didn't.
He glued his lines to his palms of his hands and pretended that he was just doing some weird interpretive dance or something.
Yeah.
Atrocious behavior.
Oh my God.
So for you, how has it been? Look, for me, I think Dad and we're not big celebrities by any way, shape or form. We're kind of like around the ED list.
XY.
XY list celebrities.
Like starts going into like hashtag numbers.
minus minus down there, because there's a very small group of people that remember us, and what do they remember us for? Me for magazines, and Cam, your dad for often Perfect Match, even though he's done a shitload of really good stuff since then.
And so have you. You've written a book and you're doing, tours and stuff like that. So don't discount that either.
Right. Thank you, honey. So how has it been moving here and having the last name of Daddo?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's probably a microcosm of what people sort of experience who have parents who are, or relatives who are, kind of famous. It's definitely, I mean, it's a little weird, people being like, oh, I love your dad. I had your dad on my wall and your mom on my bookbinder. But ultimately, I mean, it doesn't bug me. I think it's pretty sweet. The thing that I do find weird, though, is when people find out that, like, you guys have a Wikipedia page, or you can Google, Google you guys, and they say to me, I am so sorry. I did not know you were famous. And I'm like, first of all, I am not famous.
Right.
Second of all, my parents barely famous.
Yes.
Third, really not offended. Actually was trying so that you didn't know that was the case. Or, and then they're like, I feel so bad. I'm like, it's really not information that's important to know.
I know.
It's so fine.
Yeah.
It's so fine. One of my favorite things, though, is when friends call me from Ubers and are like drunk at, 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, your dad's talking to me on Smooth FM. I'm like, yeah, cool.
He's talking specifically to you as well, by the way.
Yeah. I was at a party over the weekend, and it was really funny. It somehow came up that Dad was on the radio, and they were like, right now? Is he on the radio right now? And I was like, it was 11:50 or something like that. And I was like, yep. And then they're like, everybody be quiet, and turned the station. And then there was a song playing, and then it cut. And then you could hear Dad being like, and that's da 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 in his Smooth FM voice. And everyone was like, this is crazy. I think everyone was very, very drunk.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Probably hyped it up a little bit. But I was just like, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
It was pretty funny.
That is hilarious.
It was pretty funny. Yeah.
How do you feel? Obviously, me and Dad, between the podcast and some interviews and stuff like that, we've been very open about our marriage, about our lives, about our challenges. How do you feel about that?
About how open you guys are?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I've said this to you guys before. I do think it's a little strange.
Yeah.
Just because it's, sometimes I'm like, God, that's like such private information. Why would you want to tell everybody that?
Yeah. Because you are such a private person.
I'm so private. This is like a very big deal. Not in the grand scheme of things, but for me, this is a big deal to be coming on and
I know
on your podcast and talking, because I don't like doing this sort of stuff. So yeah, I guess just because I'm such a private person, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I do find it to be quite a I don't want to say strange thing, because I don't think it's strange. I guess it's just like a difference of opinion and feeling. But I also feel like what you guys do and what you guys talk about has seemingly helped other people, recognize issues in their marriage. So I can see why it would, benefit a lot of people to hear all about that. I'm just like such a private bitch. I just don't want to tell people anything about myself. People are like, how are you? I'm like, I'm great. Bye.
Meanwhile,
only the people in my deep, deep circle are like, she's having another mental breakdown. This is the fourth one this week.
but to you, I'm great. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Move on.
Honey. Do you, Riv and Bodhi, ever get together and go, why are they talking about this? Why are they saying this? Why are they exposing their lives like this?
No, I don't think we've ever had that. Maybe me and Riv have been like, it's a little like, we wouldn't do it because Riv. He's like, if you think I'm private, he's like he's a locked
bank.
Is. You need like 5,000 different codes to get into that man.
Absolutely.
He's so private. So yeah, maybe me and Riv have said a couple times to each other, like, why would they talk about that on the air? But
Well, that was like when I've told this story before, but when my book came out and, I spoke to all of you about some of the content, and even before it was even out of my mouth, he just sort of looked at me with this huge eyes. I will never read your book, Mum. I will never read your book.
I didn't know that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Why? He just is like too much information.
He does not want to know what is in the book. If there's personal stuff, he's like, absolutely.
Oh my God.
No, Mum. It is. I will never. He's like, I don't want to pick it up. I don't want to read it. It's like, nope. Like,
wow.
I'm like, okay. I just want you to know that if anything comes out press-wise, this is what's
okay.
It's like,
wow.
And end the conversation now.
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's a funny
That's kind of funny.
You moved out of home.
Yes.
A little over a year ago. And for me, it was at the time, like it was a huge shift. I mean, number one, you were the first child. Not that you were a child, but the first of our children to move out. And it was really painful. And I'm not saying this is a emotional manipulation, because I was also so glad that you were taking that step, and it's been fabulous. But at the time, it was just, I remember just grieving so deeply and feeling your absence so much, because to me, you were a little bit of the glue that held us all together. I always felt like when you were home, everyone wanted to be in your bedroom.
I know. What the heck? All the time. I'd be like in my bed and everyone's just coming in, just wants to have a sit, have a chat. I'm like, this is private time. What's going on?
Your energy is just, if you have this really beautiful energy that people just want to sort of, it just feels comforting to be around you. So, and then when you were home, like when you were home for dinner, we're always like five of us at the dinner table. River would look for you. Bodhi would look for you. I would often look for you. Your dad was playing golf, but that's something else.
Yeah.
No, he would look for you too. So it was a really big shift when you moved out. How was it for you moving out?
I mean, so I moved out at what, 25, 26? I think I just turned 26.
Just turned 26.
Something? I don't know.
I think
it's something like that. So that is quite like late for someone to move out of their parents' home. So I think I had definitely had plans to move out a lot earlier, but it just sort of, COVID hits, you don't have enough money, all that sort of stuff. And also, I really like you guys. Like, I like hanging out with you guys. You're great people. So yeah, but I think I was definitely ready to go. I think you just sort of hit that point where you're just like, okay, I think it's time for me to just sort of be on my own.
Yeah.
I know that Dad, you may hate me for saying this, Dad sort of had cracked it a bit at me a little bit. He was like, girl, come on now. Like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And I was definitely ready.
And then he felt really
And then he felt so bad. And then every time I go over to the house now, he's like, why? Where are you? I never see you. I'm like, this is your fault.
Yeah,
like,
that's right.
You did this to me.
Yeah.
You made me leave.
It was your boot up my butt.
Yeah. I still have the boot marks.
That's right.
I mean, I was definitely sad. It was weird. Living in my own sort of space. I mean, I do have a housemate, Lucky, who's amazing.
Yeah.
And now also I have another housemate who's my brother, who is also amazing. So my family is slowly starting to move back in with me.
Yeah.
I'm like waiting for Bodhi to do it, and then it'll be you and Dad.
She would.
Yeah.
It's like everyone in your bedroom. Everyone over
again.
Lotus's apartment.
But yeah, I think it was a really important step for me, because I think you've written a couple articles about this before. About I struggle with anxiety, and I go through ebbs and flows of having really good times with it and pretty bad times with it. But I think it was a really important thing for me to just like show myself that I could stand on my own and be okay on my own, because, I went through a lot of really terrible anxiety periods when I was living at home. Not due to living at home, but just because that's just what was going on, for me at the time. And so, to now, like, having you guys in those moments to rely on and know that I was like going to be okay, and using you guys as sort of an anchor. I think it was really important for me to show myself, that I can just be okay in my anxiety-induced states, on my own, and that it was going to be all right. So doesn't mean I still don't call you when I have an anxiety attack, but at least, I'm still able to, work through it.
Yeah.
And just,
totally.
It was just sort of more like I think a really big metaphor. And I've, loved living with you guys, but living out of home has been amazing.
Yes.
It's been really, really good for me.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel that our relationship changed when you moved out?
I mean, I think, I don't think it changed too much. Maybe in the beginning it was a little bit like, because you and I are so close, not seeing you every day was definitely strange. And I think I think maybe our relationship just sort of went to the natural next level, which was, when we were living together, it was very, like, even though I was a proper adult, it was still very much like mother-daughter kind of parent-child. Mm-hmm. Now I feel like we're still in that dynamic, but it's a little bit more, not completely level, but it's more of like a friend. There's a bit more of like a friendship there rather than just like a parental. I mean, we were always friends regardless.
Yeah.
We were always very close. But yeah, I think it's probably changed in that way, like me not needing you as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably just how it's, and I think that's just a natural way it's supposed to evolve.
Yeah.
Like you stop sort of, needing each other in that sort of a way. I think that's sort of how it has evolved.
And I would completely agree with that. And that was something that I wasn't quite, it's not that I wasn't ready for, but I just didn't know what it was going to feel like.
Yeah.
You moving out. It was a brand new experience. And as you know, I was a stay-at-home mom. I was so involved in all three of your lives. And it was, having wanted to be a mom since I was such a young age, it was just like severing that tie, even though you never sever the tie, but severing that actual
it's
tie
just
of
different.
living together.
Yeah, you unbraid it a little bit and it just changes.
It was really challenging, and I remember having to really make some emotional adjustments, and I could feel my own sort of place, my own clingy place with you, where I was like, God, I won't know what's happening in her life now that she's not living with me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. And then I think there was like that separation for a little bit where you kind of were like a bit at arm's length with me for a bit. You were like, hold on, Mum.
Yeah.
I'm just got to find my feet here.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling that, like talking to your dad going, I haven't heard from her. I feel really upset and she doesn't want me around. She doesn't want to tell me anything. I don't know what's going on in her life. And I felt like I'd really lost someone in that. And then, but it wasn't long. That wasn't long. And we had a conversation about that
We did,
too.
yeah. I think it was maybe like maybe a good 3 months that I was just sort of like, I just needed to sort of, I was working like a crazy job and I just needed to just sort of be kind of like in my own shell. And usually I think if that was the case where I had lived at home, everyone in that home unit would have been involved in that shell because you just live with them.
Yeah.
Whereas like this time it was just me and Lockie, and it was like, okay, I just sort of need to be on my own and internal, and any sort of external thing, no matter how much I love those people, I just need to just focus on my own and just not tell anybody about what's going on, not answer to anybody. I just need to just be.
That's
in my
how you
own
manage
sort of
to get through it.
Yeah.
And now I feel, now for me now, which is really great, is that I just feel really excited that I have someone to go see on the weekends or someone to call or someone, it's really lovely. Like you and Rev being out of the house, it's like having really good friends, but also the fact that they're my children. So it's a beautiful shift for me, and I'm really grateful that it feels that way. How would you say that you are now with your anxiety, and what tools have worked for you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with it. I think there's still days when you have, bad days, and I think that's just human experience. It's just going to happen naturally, right? I'm really, really, really lucky because I have a pretty good support system around me. Like, I've obviously got you. I have a really fantastic therapist that I see. I have a naturopath who's amazing, who I can always like call on if something just feels sort of out of whack.
Yeah.
But now I think I've had enough anxiety attacks and experienced it enough to sort of know the physical feelings of it. And just I can sort of now recognize when it's like physically in my body and then go, okay, this is an anxiety attack. I'm just going to sort of ride this out. And so I think what used to happen to me was I'd be having an anxiety attack, and my anxiety attacks manifest quite physically for me. Like I shake. Sometimes my eyesight will get really blurry. I get really, really dizzy, short of breath, all the really fun stuff. Have like depersonalization episodes, which are really, really scary. But now it's like, and when that would happen, I would then start to panic more because you're like, oh shit, I'm having an anxiety attack. So you start panicking about having an anxiety attack, which does not help at all. But now my brain sort of recognizes the symptoms and is like, okay, all good. Like, you know what to do. And so I'll usually just go to I'll go for a walk, or I'll do some art, or I'll call you, or I'll just, call a friend, read. Yeah, it's just take a shower, just anything to sort of diffuse it a little bit. But now my brain is kind of aware of what it feels like, and like I'll go back through and I'll go, okay, why are you having an anxiety attack? Oh, it's because it's, that's what happened. And because for me, my anxiety, I'll be fine in a stressful situation. It's only a day, 2 days afterwards that I'll get hit with the physical symptoms. And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I guess it's good that I'm not panicking in a stressful situation. I'm pretty level-headed. It's then only, like the repercussions afterwards hit me a few days later. And I'm like, I don't know why I feel like this.
That's always been the craziest thing.
It's so weird.
That it's like it can hit at any point. I mean, I know when I've had mine panic attacks as well, that it'll just be, I'm just driving, I'm just in the car with Dad and your dad, and it's like, whoa, where is this coming from? But it's that, it's that delayed response. So
it's really weird.
What do you wish people understood about anxiety that don't have it?
It's a really good question. I mean, I think some people with anxiety, myself included, need to, I think, actually, I don't want to speak for everybody because I don't know, but for me personally, I'll speak from personal experience. If I've had an anxiety attack, sometimes I really just need to be by myself afterwards, and I need to recharge. If you look up introvert in the dictionary, it's probably a picture of me.
Yeah.
Maybe with a couple of tweaks, but I'm like such an introvert. And I recharge by being by myself. I love being by myself. Not all the time, but it's important. So I think, when people need to be on their own and need to find sort of some solace, in their own space, it's not a pushback against those people that want to help. It's just them being like, I need to be in my own space and just like self-soothe. I'm not trying to like push you away.
Yeah.
I just need to be on my own. And I think for me, that's probably been the thing that I want people to know is I'm not angry at you. I'm not anything at you. I just need to focus on myself and just be here on my own for a second.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes people can be like, why don't you want to talk to me? Why are you this? Why are you that? And it's like, it has nothing to do with you. It really does not. I just need to take care of this for a second, and then I'll be okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's lots of other things, but that's, I think, probably the number one thing. It's not a push against anyone who's trying to help or whatever. It's just, you just gotta sort of self-soothe sometimes.
Yeah, I've watched you navigate your anxiety, through the years, and I know your I know your mechanisms now, and it's like, just leave her alone.
Yeah, just let her figure it out.
Where's Sugar Queen, the book?
Yeah.
Where's just something, get her warm. She needs to be warm,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and just quiet.
Quiet
Yeah.
on my own.
Yeah.
It's like when I would go for, really long walks and Dad would be like, I'll come with you. And I'm like, I don't want you to come with me. Please do not come with me. I love you, but no.
Yeah. Oh, Dad.
Yeah. He's so sweet.
Is there a favorite part of your childhood that you would remember fondly?
Man, I mean, I have lots of fond memories of my childhood.
Phew.
Yeah. You did a good job. I think like, yeah, I mean, it's honestly probably just when I was a little kid and just hanging out and playing outside. I think that's probably a kind of a universal feeling, really, is when you just had that carefree time. And I feel really grateful that I did have that ability to just get to sort of run wild outside and do whatever I wanted. And, I loved traveling to Australia when I was a kid. I have a really amazing memory from Whoopi and Poppy's farm. This is my dad's parents. And like riding on the back of my granddad's trailer, and as he's herding these cows into the pen, and it was like dusk, and this massive red kangaroo just like is bouncing through the fields. And I just remember thinking, I mean, that's like burned into my memory because that's just one of the most incredible things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I think just all the times when I really got to be a kid and just like, hang out with my friends and be outside and just play make believe, I think is probably my favorite parts of when I was a child, because it's just so simple and so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. We do something called the 2-minute shower.
Oh, God. I'm scared.
So we're getting into the shower together. No, not really. We haven't done that in a really long time. And it's just sort of short answers, one word if you can, but it's okay if it's longer than that. Don't worry about it. This may be a really hard question for you because I know you.
Oh, shit.
Let's see how you go. Is there one word you could use to describe yourself?
Oh, my God. No way. Are you kidding? I don't know. I really have no idea.
Okay.
I really don't know. It's like when you asked me that and all of a sudden all of the words just went out of my head. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, your favorite thing is tests,
right? Oh, yeah. I'm so bad at tests. I panic instantly.
I know, the panic. What?
Yeah.
Don't put me on the spot.
God, maybe it's slightly like, what's a toned down version of eccentric? I think I'm a little strange.
In a fabulous way. You come from a line of strange people.
That is true.
It is true.
That is true.
We're all weird in our family.
I mean, yeah, but everyone's weird, right?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's got their weirdness. Okay. So let's say toned down version of
eccentric -5.
Yeah. Okay, got it. What would your perfect day look like?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I mean, probably just, I don't know, because I think there's lots of different versions of perfect days, right? I think, to be honest, it would depend on my mood. I mean, I think right now, probably a perfect day would just be getting to sleep in, because I'm not really getting to do that at the moment. And then just, go for a really nice swim in the ocean and just hang out with some friends, go to sleep. Sit in a hammock,
up,
read,
sleep,
have some tacos.
Yep.
I think that's probably what my current perfect day would sort of look like.
Yep.
Yeah. But that could change. Some days I really just want to go out and have a really good time dancing and all that sort of stuff. And then other days I just want to be by myself.
Who do you admire?
Oh, man.
I know it's a really hard
That's
question.
a hard one. I feel like there's so many people that I admire.
Yeah. Or is there a kind of person that you admire? Sometimes people answer it that way.
Okay. Well, I mean, actually, I can answer this. Who do I admire? I really admire my little sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
And she would answer the exact same way. You are her hero, and she's said that so many times. Oh, why do you admire her?
Oh my God, I'm about to get teary.
Me too. Oh, God.
Oh, no. I was like, you're not going to cry today. I just think she's so, like, unapologetically herself. And that is, I mean, she's so young, but she's always been like that.
Yeah.
And for me, I have really struggled with that. And she just has no qualms about it. She's just like, you like it? You don't like it? I don't care. Like, take it or leave it, man.
Yeah.
And so I really aspire to have that level of confidence. And it's just so cool to see her do that. And I just think she's so funny, and she's just awesome. So yeah, I really admire her. I think she's amazing.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And you know that is the truth, that, you know, Bodhi had to write an essay about who her hero is, and she wrote about her sister. So that tells you about the relationship that you two have.
Yeah, I love her.
What the world needs more of is
kindness. Holy shit. And compassion. Like, I mean, I think there's so much to say about that. Like, I could go on a full tangent about it, but I just do not think we're kind enough to each other. And, you know, even if we don't agree with each other's opinions, I think there's ways to navigate around that sort of stuff. I just feel like we're just seeing more and more people hating on each other for all kinds of crazy stuff and coming after each other for stuff. And I just feel like we just need to be nicer to each other. It's probably a really generic answer, but it's genuinely how I feel. I just feel like there just isn't enough kindness and compassion in the world.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah.
Honey, people come up to me who have met you and say, I met your daughter Lotus. She's so incredible. She's so wonderful. And I honestly say to them, she is one of my all-time favorite people on this planet. And not just because you're my daughter. It's
not just because I'm sitting right in front of you and you're saying this
not
on the podcast.
Not because of that either. You are just one of my favorite people. You are just, you know, I aspire to be more like you because of your kindness and who you are. And I know the demons you've battled, and you've just maintained such a beauty about you. So thank you so much for coming in today and talking.
Thanks for having
about
me.
yourself.
I know, this was so crazy.
Little Miss
Thank
Introvert.
you.
Thank you,
for having
sweetheart.
me. Hopefully I didn't bore all of your listeners. They're like, oh God, just skip to the next.
That's so you. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.